To OMN's English News Update, broadcasting to you live. My name is Toltu Tufa and I present with technician Adil Osman. Today is Sunday, the 6th of September 2020. Today's bulletin is headlined with the following reports. Ethiopian prison finally released Yasin Juma interviews exclusively with Oromia Media Network. Women's protests gain traction across Oromia. The fourth round of boycotts raised the momentum of the Oromo protests. The countdown to Abiy Ahmed's expiring mandate continues. And now for today's news. In other news, women's rallies gain momentum in cities across Oromia. The Rally of Oromo Women, which commenced in Oromia's city of Awade, has spread with speed across multiple regions in Oromia. Never before seen footage of women's-only marches taking to the streets have demanded their rights be respected. Police response has been swift and harsh, with detaining young women without arrest in undisclosed locations. Over 10 cities in Oromia with hundreds of women have taken to streets, creating further tension between military forces and civilians. The women whose husbands, brothers, relatives and children are detained and imprisoned have left women more vulnerable to attacks from government, military and economic difficulty at home. Their demands echo the cries from the 50 million strong nation of the Oromo people. They demand immediate and unconditional release of all Oromo people, civilians, leaders and activists. The placards shown by the women demand freedom of leaders like Bekele Garba and Jawar Mohammed. They demand that women are no longer raped, that their family members are returned to them safely, and that the current leader, Abiy Ahmed of the ruling party in Ethiopia, must accept the end of his mandate to rule Ethiopia. The Oromo movement, known as Qero, announces a fourth round of civil disobedience and boycotts. The Oromo youth movement have restated their disappointment in the ruling party's continued detainment and imprisonment of Oromo political leaders, civilians and innocents who have yet to face arrest. They state their pride in their female counterparts who took to the streets, who demanded their protests be heard across all regions of Oromia. The youth movement demand the immediate cessation of torture, sexual violence and detainment of innocent people and the unconditional release of all prisoners, the removal of military forces from their local areas and the right to self-determination. The youth movement have extended their invitation exclusively through Oromia Media Network's news broadcast. They extend an invitation for all Oromo regions and supporters to participate in what will be the fourth round of boycotts in the Oromo protests. This has taken place since the assassination of Oromo icon Hachalu Hundessa. The Oromo youth reiterate their commitment to seeking the release of imprisoned Oromo civilians and leaders by calling for a 5-day-long boycott commencing today on the 6th of September 2020 until the 10th of September 2020. The youth movement have called for boycotts by demanding the following. They have demanded the closure of all major roads in Oromia, in particular ones that lead in and out of the nation's capital city, Finfinne. The further closures of major roads in Oromia that connect with neighbouring regions, to refuse the sale and purchase of the following products within the capital city as well as the stores who sell the following: all agricultural ingredients, recreational stimulants, cattle, sheep, goats, chicken, coffee, dairy, fruits and vegetables. They request and demand that we continue the economic boycotts, that is the purchase and sale as well as the use of services from federal banks, hotels, restaurants, manufacturing and entertainment spaces. Ethiopian court dramas continue. Jawar Mohammed, one of the leaders of the Oromo Federalist Congress, continues to face court drama in his latest appearance. one of the leaders for the Oromo people and the previous director of Oromia Media Network, Jawar Mohammed, is arguably one of the most influential political figures in East Africa. His recent court attendance highlighted a court system of flaws when he made the following statement. My plea and urging to you is not because I am afraid of prison. I am not asking the justice system to be restored for selfish reasons, but for the benefit of generations to come. I joined the struggle, ready to deal with all kinds of consequences, let alone imprisonment. I am ready to be sacrificed for my beliefs and for the rights of the Oromo people. If I die today, I die without regret and a smile on my face. But my plea to you again is to improve the justice system of this country for the sake of the next generation. Mr. Mohammed continues to face remand for charges of which evidence is yet to be presented at trial. He joins many other political Oromo leaders who were unexpectedly captured and subsequently triggered the rise of Oromo protests across the country. Ethiopian prosecutors have also charged American citizen Misha Chirri with the crime of violating anti-telecom fraud. This took place in the absence of both Mr. Chirri and his lawyer. The prosecutors allege that Mr. Chirri installed prohibited telecom satellite equipment at the residence of political leader Jawar Mohammed. They further allege the following: that this telecom satellite equipment was imported from the United States without the approval from the Ethiopian government. They accuse Mr. Chirri of engaging with hacking devices such as mobile phones, tablets, desktop computers, and the creation of a private system of network which is considered illegal. Mr. Chirri's legal team reject the allegations wholeheartedly and await to be seen at court again. Last month, Mr. Chirri was granted bail set at 10,000 Ethiopian birr, equivalent to United States US $275, to which the appeal have appealed to keep Mr. Chirri in prison. On the 31st of August, judges from the courts have allowed the remand and continued investigation of Mr. Chirri by police for a further 3 days due to being an apparent flight risk, among other reasons relating to collecting evidence. Currently, Mr. Chirri is facing charges after criminal files were laid against him in court in the absence of him and his lawyers, despite the next hearing being adjourned until the 8th of September 2020. Mr. Chirri's lawyers state they are yet to receive a charge sheet from the courts. And now for news across Ethiopia. Ethiopia's Tigray region calls out Abiy Ahmed's expiring mandate with an announcement of a local election. As Abiy Ahmed's constitutional permission to rule the country heads to expiry next month, the Oromo people are not alone in their feud with the current Prime Minister. Tensions are rising between Abiy Ahmed, his ruling party, and the local Tigray region. The region, represented by the TPLF party, have made a decision to organize its own election. This move is widely seen as an act of defiance against Ethiopia's current federal government. Abiy Ahmed's ruling party has responded to Tigray's call for pending regional elections as unconstitutional. Tigray's regional government has called any attempt to stop the upcoming election a declaration of war. They further boycotted last weekend's parliament session. The TPLF argue, like other opposition groups in Ethiopia, that Mr. Abiy's mandate should finish by October 2020. The TPLF contend the postponement of the August 2020 elections will breach the constitution, resulting in Abiy Ahmed becoming an illegitimate ruler of Ethiopia. The significance of TPLF's decision to call an election is worrying for the Ethiopian government. This opens the risk of creating a breakaway state. The TPLF leader states his party will never back down for anyone intending to suppress Tigray's hard-won right to self-determination and self-rule. Abiy Ahmed's government's response is to repeatedly state that Ethiopia will never disintegrate, indicating his own confidence in holding Ethiopia together despite being on the brink of collapse due to mounting ethnic, religious, and political tension. Ethiopian lawmakers called next week's election in the northern Tigray region unconstitutional and vowed not to recognize the results, further increasing the political tensions in the Horn of Africa. The country's upper house of parliament and the House of Federation on Saturday called the formation of an electoral board in the region illegal and said that any actions taken by it would be unenforceable. Government officials are describing all dissent as requiring law enforcement. To date, they have imprisoned over 10,000 people, with more than 2 million people left displaced and homeless in the last 2 months. That's all the news for now. An English news broadcast will return to you live on Oromia Media Network, but stay tuned now for further broadcasts, including an exclusive interview with Kenyan journalist Yasin Juma. Until we meet again, my name is Tolki Kupa, my technician Adil Usman. Take care, stay safe.
My family, and I'm glad to be here after the long ordeal. I fought injustice, I fought coronavirus. Alhamdulillah, I'm here now. I'm glad to be here. It was difficult for me. It was challenging for me. There was a communication problem with the authorities, the police officers in the sustaining detention hard for me. And I met different detainees there, including high-profile detainees like politician Mr. Jawar Mohammed. There's a turn around, so it gives a lot of questions, especially when you arrest a foreign journalist. And I'm also concerned about other journalists, especially the local journalists like Melissa Deripsa, who are still being detained. If you ask me, I still believe the charges they're facing are
Mr. Juma, once again, congratulations on your release to your home country. We look forward to sharing a more detailed conversation following from here today. Thank you for your time, and please send our warm wishes to your family.
Thank you very much.
Once again, that was Kenyan journalist Yasin Juma, released from wrongful detainment in Ethiopia. An exclusive tell-all interview will be broadcast on Oromia Media Network in English after today's bulletin.